I've been influenced by Jung and Hillman in particular. And it was James Hillman who I stumbled across first. In my midlife, I wandered into Glebe Books in Sydney and I was looking for a particular book, and a book kind of fell out on top of me, The Myth of Analysis by James Hillman. And when I started reading that book, I hadn't quite come across anything quite like it before. Hillman is so steeped in myth, and probably the main myth of that book is the myth of Eros and Psyche. And he said that Psyche needs Eros and Eros needs Psyche. And what it means to me is that, Psyche from psychology was named after Psyche from myth. And Eros is like that awakening force, that creative daemon, that engendering force, the fire of a creative force. So they need each other. The Psyche needs Eros to awaken, and Eros needs Psyche to deepen. And if you read Hillman for long enough, Hillman's steeped in Greek myth. You start to see Dionysus at a music festival when everyone's swaying and dancing under the moon, and you see Apollo in the news hour and with the cool and distant analysis of events. The cool and distant reason of Apollo. You see Aphrodite within the beauty of the world and the soul of the world and the anima mundi in Hillman's language. And Hillman got me on to Jung. And with Jung, there's a language for the soul and the sacred, I would say. Jung has been like this great influential person, like this great shaman in a way over the last 200 years, and he's brought a language for things which are sometimes ancient, archaic. Jung opened the mouth of the dead, said Hillman. So, to cut a long story short, when COVID struck and all entertainment was gone and distraction, and it was like this world went into some new stage of events, it seemed to me that my response had to be, my only response could be like a creative response. And I started Substack in order to write about these things, and then to start podcasts, to start to talk to different people and about their own journey and about their own story and the influences and their ways in. And I think it's through the conversation that I think that somehow we're all learning we're learning so much from each other through a conversation, through different people's experiences at this time. Sometimes I see it a bit like I think Rick Darnas called this time like a death rebirth mystery. It's like there's so much death and so much breaking down and so much decaying, but then there's rebirth, and what is the rebirth? And so this is what the Jung and the World podcast is all about. And I like the idea of kind of like how to speak street Jung. It's not the formal, conceptual, scholarly although there are many scholars on the Jung and the World podcast, but it's how to make this accessible, how to bring this out to a wider audience, how to make it accessible to people in normal life, out on the street. And so, in a way, um, that's the challenge.